Welcome everyone, this is Master's Joke, also Master's Joke 75 on Instagram. So I'm at the Moon and Cross in Waltham Cross, Hertfordshire. I've never been in here before, but I'm going to the Enfield Pageant, and you know the drill. You know the drill by now. Full English. Unfortunately, they cancelled my black pudding in this spoons. One of those things. It seems to be a regular recurrence with spoons that don't have the black pudding, and they didn't have my eggs. Apparently there was an issue with the griddle, so they said there'd be a delay with the fried eggs. So it's not really a full English if you don't have all the ingredients that go with it. And this is what they gave me. Rubbery. It took about 10-15 minutes, but yeah, rubbery fried eggs. So yeah, unacceptable. I mean, really nice people, really nice pub, but I wouldn't even if you can't do it, don't serve it. So I sent them back, and it must have been another maybe 10-15 minutes later, I did eventually get my my fried eggs. A little bit later, I had a couple. Well, I had like 1.5 slices of toast left. So yeah, honestly, they were beautiful eggs in the end. Really nice breakfast. Let your eyes be your guide. And I will definitely be back here at the Moon and Cross. I've never been in here before. But it was on the way. It was on the way to the Enfield Pageant, so I thought I'd check it out. Always good to visit a new Wetherspoons, in my opinion. But one of the real reasons that I decided to visit Waltham Cross was because of Return of the Jedi. So June the 2nd, 1983, was when Return of the Jedi premiered in the West End of London. Loved the film. It was the first Star Wars movie that I saw in the cinema, and the cinema was actually located here in Waltham Cross. So I remember my older brother. I was like 7 years old, and he took me up to Waltham Cross because we always used to go to this cinema. And I saw Return of the Jedi on this very spot. And it would have been, it was when it first came out, so it would have been like in June 1983. And at this stage, I only had one Star Wars action figure, which was my Attack Commander, which my brother found in the street during his paper rounds. But yeah, I mean, I saw loads of movies there, like Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, Star Trek 3 and 4, Beetlejuice. Even I remember Teen Wolf for my auntie. She'd got cherry Pepsi, and I'd never had that before. So yeah, great memories here. Just sad that I visited it too late to actually see it, see the old cinema location before it got demolished. But yeah, I used to love it, and it's sad. It's sad that these old buildings are being pulled down. But yeah, literally 40 years ago, in June 1983, I watched Return of the Jedi in this very spot, and it changed my life. Probably my favourite film of all time, and just happy days, and literally right next door to the Wetherspoons. So but that's the reason I chose here, and then we went to the Enfield Pageant straight after. And talking of the Enfield Pageant, is it going to be the last Enfield Pageant to be in Enfield? I mean, it's already been reduced to a 2-day weekend, which is disappointing. It's a shame. It is a shame. And they do such a fantastic job. But is this, with Mayor Khan and his fantastic idea for the ultra low emission zone, is this the last Enfield Pageant in Enfield? So I've been coming to the Enfield Pageant. I've been coming for years, since I was a kid. I think the only ones I've missed would have been the ones due to COVID, and also the there was one year where the where the Enfield Playing Fields got completely flooded. So I still turned up, but you couldn't do anything. There was no cars there. Some of the sellers were there, and the actual field was just ripped to shreds. But because of the traffic, I came up the original, well, one of the original entrances via Southbury Road. And I was later told that we shouldn't have come in there at all. Because I did notice there was no signposting, which I found I did find strange. But yeah, I've a lot of this I've filmed for posterity, because this isn't going to happen again. The latest from the Enfield Pageant is that they're definitely planning to do another pageant next year, which is fantastic news. It's great. I never miss this event. I absolutely love it, but they've got no idea where it's going to be. Now, I absolutely love the auto jumble. It's not what it used to be, but it's still good. It's a good turnout. I used to get all my parts for my Morris Marina back in the day before it exploded in Buntingford. That's another story. And also for my Ford Fiesta and Ford Sierra as well. But now these days I'm on the hunt for vintage toys, Star Wars toys. I love bikes as well, old bikes. This rally winner, the reason I'm filming this is because I had the earlier version, the silver one. My cousin had this version, so I've filmed it for him. New rally chopper based on the Mark II's out later this month. That's a nice surprise. Then I found this stall, this Star Trek 5 Enterprise A, amazing condition. He wanted £15 for it. I was tempted, but I've seen it for cheaper, but obviously not in great condition. But I wanted to open it, so that's why I didn't pull the trigger on that. He had loads of Star Wars figures. I think they were £7 each. Nothing that I needed, but great to look at. But he also had some Star Wars mini rigs boxed, and I think he wanted £20 each for them, and he wanted £25 for the Energizer because it was complete. So yeah, this guy absolutely gems that I found at the Enfield Pageant. I haven't seen a box mini rig since 1999, and that was at the Enfield Pageant, and I bought both of them. They were £15 back in the day, so asking £20, that's not a bad deal. There's my AT Commander. Love that figure since my as I mentioned earlier in the video, since my older brother found me one during his paper round in Edmonton, and I'd never get rid of that figure at all. But this guy had some great stuff. But then he had a Grau item, which was the Batman 1989 Toy Biz Batmobile. Absolutely blew me away. Especially with the new Flash movie, Michael Keaton is back. I saw that with the box as well. I couldn't say no. He wanted 45. I think I got it for £40. Absolutely complete. Come on, this is an auto jumble after all. You got to buy an automobile, haven't you? But yeah, this guy was brilliant. So I spent over £100. Then this guy, he's always at the pageant, and he was near the entrance this year. Funny enough, the Rebel, was it a Rebel? Is it a Rebel Fleet Trooper? I actually saw that figure last year. He's in one of my last year videos. He wanted £2.50. I was going to buy him, but I've got loads of them. But I managed to pick up an AT-AT driver, brilliant condition, £2.50. The Cloud City little orange ship wasn't in great condition, so I didn't bother asking him how much he wanted for it. I'm sure it weren't much, but yeah, it was a bit battered. But he had some great stuff there as well, and he always seems to have like really kind of stuff that you don't normally see. So definitely worth checking out. And with this guy, after I bought the Batmobile, I'd seen it earlier in the day. I managed to get the Batman 1989 Toy Biz figure to go with the Batmobile. £3. Let your eyes be your guide. PT Cruiser, anyone?
I believe that's a Lotus, guys. I might be wrong if I am to give me a Lotus. Oh, of course. American car as well. Oh, lots of good American cars. They're beautiful, but they're all Pontiacs and Cadillacs and I get a bit mixed up. A big thank you to Paul for my escort today. I've had it 15 years and sadly it's going to a brand new home. So thank you, Paul, nice to meet you, and I hope that you and your son look after my escort GTI and put it back in the original condition and get it back on the road, because it is a beautiful car. I've had it so many years, but sadly I've let it go today. Paul kindly come up and said I'm having it. So thank you for that, Paul. Real pleasure to meet you, mate. Look forward to getting it into your family and your family looking after my old red escort. In case you was interested in it, I'm sad to say, Paul's bought it. He's the man. Back to the arena, guys. Here we are, the White Web Museum fire engine. Can we have the blue lights on? The fire engine, any noises? Something struggling over there. Listen, guys, if you break down, please don't answer them. Don't push. Stupid for me. We need the whole White Web Museum to push that thing. Apparently George is very strong. George, can you push that if it breaks down on your own, mate? He says, yeah, well done. Hi, guys. Here we go. Some of these great cars. Don't forget, guys, it's Paul now. Yes, you just joined us. The brand new Mustang electric car is on show. Star of the show to Gates Ford. So once again, thank you to them. That was established in 1920. I can't believe that. Gates were around in 1920. And of course, before my time, I'm pleased to say, there's a guy called Dennis Fowler over there, and he was born in 1919, so he would have remembered the launch of Gates of Ford. Well done, Dennis. Chris Norris was born just after 1920, guys, so he'll remember all those cars back when Gates first established themselves. Here we go, the London Fire Brigade. There it is, a good old, well, I wouldn't have thought there's many of these left. That must be like a 1960s or early 60s or late 60s fire engine, which obviously is very rare. And of course you can visit the White Web Museum, because they're always pleased to see you. There's dates on the internet, they have open days, guys, so they've got lovely food there. Jude always cooks a nice cup of tea and a nice bacon tonic, so make sure you visit the White Web's museum. Of course, full details are on the website. As they all line up, guys, we'll have a chat with these people, and if you'd like to come in and take some photographs, you are welcome. Everybody's welcome on a day like today. You're welcome to come in, have a chat with us, chat to the owners, and of course, take some photographs for the memories and the family. Message to Dennis Fowler, they've got a fire engine named after you, Dennis. It's made by Dennis, your man, mate. Here we go. Wow, look at these, look at these. Wonderful, wonderful vehicles that are, I'm pleased to say, are still with us. They're amazing.
Now, this collection of classic vintage Ford cars in one of the marquees, this was good to see. I think this was arranged by Gates Ford, and it had loads of different Ford cars from all different eras. I think they were. I mean, I don't know for sure. I don't know if they were sponsoring the pageant, but there's the old Harry Potter Ford Anglia. I still haven't seen that film, but yeah, they were. I think they had. I think they might have been sponsoring the event, because they had their electric cars outside the marquee. So I don't know if that was something to do with it, but no, it was great to see. Really nice collection of vintage and classic Ford cars, and that's what it's all about. You know, this to me, this event I mean, people might say different, but for me, this is one of the best classic and vintage car events pre 2000. I think there is in the country. Maybe I am a bit biased because I absolutely love the Enfield Pageant. I think I mentioned it on one of my previous videos, but my granddad, he was one of the original founders of the Enfield District Veteran Vehicle Society. So you know, I've obviously got a soft spot for the Enfield Pageant. He used to drive steam engines at other events back in the 60s and 70s, which again is why I'm very disappointed, and I'm sure he would be, that there's no longer any steam engines at this event. And it's got nothing to do with like emissions or pollution or anything like that. It's all about the high costs in London for like hiring like a low loader to take a steam engine into London. It's just absolutely astronomical prices, absolutely ridiculous, and it just seems that certain people in Mr. Khan, for example, just destroying heritage events like this. I mean, it was so good to see the steam fair in Stopfold, Bedfordshire, a couple of weeks ago, and that was just packed with steam engines. Look at that beautiful Ford Granada. My next door neighbour used to have one of them back in the 80s in Edmonton. But yeah, it's so sad to see these events, either having to move to other areas or disappearing altogether. And I hope that doesn't happen to the Enfield Pageant. To me, it won't be the same. It won't be the same if it's moved to another area like Hertfordshire. I mean, it's going to the Enfield Playing Fields. It's all part of the pageant, which is why I filmed like driving in, because that's not gonna happen at all. I know that there are appeals going through at the moment for the ultra low emission zone, but whether they're going to be successful or not, who knows? But it will be sad to see this event move elsewhere, which I, due to the size of it, look at that beautiful Capri. I absolutely love Capris, but due to the size of it, likely to be moved to Hertfordshire. And I mean, Hertfordshire, it'll be ideal for me because it'll be quicker for me to get to in the morning. But it just won't be the same. It has to, in my opinion, it's got to be an Enfield. But at least at least they have said that they do plan to do one for next year, and they can only do their best. And it's such a fantastic event, As I said, I haven't missed an event. Well, probably since I think I proper seriously started coming probably in the early 90s. I used to come with my dad and my mum sometimes. Oh, here's the new Ford electric cars. Now this is, I love Mustangs. Like the vintage classic Mustang is my number one car. If I had the money, I would. But you can't have an electric Mustang. Funny enough, my next door neighbour, where I live in Bedfordshire, he's just bought an electric car. Well, no, he's bought a hybrid, but he did test drive the Ford Mustang, and he was tempted to buy one. It's not a Mustang. I'm sorry, it's not a Mustang. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but you can't have an electric Mustang. It has to have at least a V6 or a V8 engine to qualify as a Mustang, and that's my opinion. But each to their own. Each to their own. But yeah, I mean, it was a really good turnout this year as well. It's probably my imagination, but there seems to be more cars than normal. One of the things that I loved last year, because I went last year I went on I always go on the Saturday because I like to make sure I pick up the bargains at the auto jumble. But last year they had the like the movie cars, like they had the the Knight Rider replica. They had the Capri from the original Capri from the professionals. Obviously Del Boy's free wheel van. I think that was a replica as well. I think, although I have seen an original. I think it was from Jolly Boys Out at the pageant in the past. But but they were doing the movie and TV cars on the Sunday, and because this is likely to be the last pageant on the Enfield Playing Fields, I had planned to go to the Saturday and the Sunday, but I'm due to go to Dubai on the Sunday, so that's the only reason that I couldn't go. I couldn't go to the Sunday event as well, because I would have loved to have seen the TV and movie cars. I love all that kind of nostalgia. I'm a big sucker for nostalgia. When that that kind of 1970s, 80s nonsense. I love these Rovers. Absolutely beautiful cars. I remember there was someone had one of these Rovers at the at Club Row Market on a Sunday morning. It was beautiful, like a silver one, absolutely beautiful. And I think I'd love they're so chunky. I just love them. I think they're absolutely great cars. If I was going to buy another vintage classic car, I would like to get another Morris Marina. As I mentioned earlier, my how old would it be? My 23-year-old Morris Marina exploded in Buntingford. I'd sent it away after my dad died. I'd sent it away to a farm in Buntingford to be to help finish restoring it, because I was restoring it with my dad. It was my first car. It was like a 1980 Pageant Blue, and funny enough, it was it was another one of the founder members of the Enfield Veteran Vehicle Society who was working on it. It was just a unfortunate accident. Some welding was being done, and it caught fire and exploded. I mean, there's no ill feeling. We shook hands on it. It's just an unfortunate accident. But I mean, I was so upset, especially as it was a project I was working on with my dad just before he died. But it's one of those things, and it was all left fine. Just unfortunate, but apparently it took three fire engines to put the fire out. But if you don't laugh, you cry. Do you know what I mean? But I'd like to get another Morris Marina, a Morris Marina Estate, or a Ford Mustang with a V8 engine. So I mean they're the two cars that I would definitely look out for if I was in the. If I was in the mood for picking up a classic car. I mean, currently I've got a PT Cruiser, which is 19 years old. Doesn't qualify as a classic car because it's obviously it was registered after the year 2000. So but it's classic to me, and I love it, and I wouldn't do without it. First, I mean, people hate PT Cruisers. In the same way that they hate Morris Marinas, although no one's ever dropped a piano, as far as I know, on a PT Cruiser. But I love them. I first saw them in my first trip to America in the year 2000. I thought they looked amazing when I saw them on the road. Knew I needed to get one, and I picked one up in the noughties, and I've had it ever since. Never let me down. So maybe one day the Enfield Pageant will allow me to bring my PT Cruiser to to display it, but I don't think there's much interest at the moment, and it doesn't actually qualify as a classic. But definitely great turnout this year, great weather as well. Decided normally as a treat, I always like a nice old school burger with onions, and a nice cup of tea. That's what I normally did. But I was so stuffed from that big breakfast that me and my brother, who I went with, we decided that because this is proper nostalgia and retro, after the pageant, we would go and have a Wimpy in Chesham. So that's what we planned to do. I love the old taxis as well because they're proper nostalgia and 80s and 70s, old movies. I absolutely love it. And also my father-in-law, he was a taxi driver as well. So there's a little bit of family connection associated with that. And it was and they drove around as well. It was good to see them driving around the showground. But I do miss the steam engines and also the steam engine tug of war and things like that, which they do still continue doing at the Stotfold Steam Fair, and they do that a couple of times a year. They've got the winter one, I think, coming up in October, and then of course you've got the Hertfordshire Steam Fair as well. So there are still places to go, but it's a shame. There's been a lot of changes. At the Enfield Pageant, but you've got to remember it's all volunteers, and they do an absolutely fantastic job. Absolutely fantastic, and it's nice to have an excuse just to drive back to. Well, I was about to say drive back home, but drive back to Enfield at least once a year because there's no one I know who lives there anymore. There's what is it? Yeah, all my family have left. I don't know anyone who lives in Enfield whatsoever, so it is nice having an excuse to drive down the A10 from Bedfordshire. I cut across Baldock to Buntingford, even with those bad memories of the Morris Marina exploding, and then drive down the A10. So yeah, talking of the A10, one of the weird things, because I used to drive down the A10 when I worked in Enfield. And one of the images I used to see, only for a split second, as you come up, look at that beautiful Mustang. You can see why I want one. But one of the images you see as you drive down the A10, just for a brief couple of seconds, you see the 4 tower blocks in Ponders End, just on the horizon, just for a couple of seconds. And I used to see that for years. And now there's only one. You've only got Curlew House, the pink one, left, because they're redeveloping the area. And I actually went there a few weeks ago with my brothers just to see the old place, have a nostalgic walk around Edmonton Green as well. And it's surreal to see just Curlew House standing on its own, because I believe there's still people living there, but there's still a council office underneath it, and that's not going to be there for much longer. But just seeing one tower on its own, just on the horizon, honestly, it's surreal. It's absolutely surreal. Yeah, I definitely want a Mustang. I do love my PT Cruiser, and obviously I do love the Morris Marinas, but something about a Mustang, I absolutely love them. And these old Ford cars as well. You can get, your classics are, they've held the price well. Not many, you don't get too many classics now, do you, from the late 80s and the 90s. And a lot of that was to do with the government's scrapping scheme, where you can have money towards a new car if you scrapped your car. So a lot of classics that should be around are no longer around. So that's unfortunate, but it's great that you've got these events. Let's just hope that the Enfield District Veteran Vehicle Society can pull it off and keep the show in Enfield. It's looking very unlikely, but if it does move to Hertfordshire, although it won't be the same event, in my opinion, because a lot of it is actually going to Enfield, because I don't live here anymore. But wherever it goes, I'll be there. It's one of my favourite shows on the classic car calendar. So I'll wherever it goes, I'll be there definitely. look, even more Ford Mustangs. Look, absolutely beautiful. But I think I fancy a blue one. No, actually, I think I'll probably just stick to the PT Cruiser. I got my car tax for June, £395. Unbelievable. But there you go. I look at Wiley's Jeep. I'd love one of them as well. That would be great. But great event. And as I mentioned earlier, to keep on that retro classic theme, off to you know the drill. Off to Wimpy in Cheshunt for a nice trip down memory lane. So I haven't been to a Wimpy since Lakeside. That was a good few months ago. I think at the start of the year. But let your eyes be your guide. Banana milkshake, absolutely fantastic, especially on a hot day like it was on the Saturday. But what did I order? I ordered the double cheese quarter-pounder meal. It's not cheap, but look at the portion size. It's a really, really tasty burger. And what I like about the food, it's so hot, so hot. I decided not to go for a bender this time, but honestly, love it. Let your eyes be your guide. Highly recommended. And obviously, you've got to have your special burger sauce. I've got no idea why it's in a tomato ketchup bottle, but I got my special burger sauce on there, and you can also buy it as well, which I think is great. But anyway, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It lets me know you care. It also helps the algorithm. I'm off to Dubai, and I will see you in the next one.